and welcome to another episode of the In 90 Minutes podcast. Happy MLS Game Day 8 it is. Uh, Thank you to all of you who are watching us. As always, please follow, like, and subscribe all of our social media channels. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Blue Sky, at In 90 Minutes Podcast. And as always, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram.
And
Um,
MySpace.
and what's that?
And MySpace.
And MySpace. Who remembers MySpace? Oh my gosh. Who had a MySpace? If you're watching, and you had a
I
MySpace.
never did.
Please put that in the chat. I want to know because it'll make me feel better. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. As we mentioned, we're really getting close to that 500 subscriber uh, uh, milestone. So please spread the word, help us, and follow, like, and subscribe our YouTube channel. So, thank you to those of you watching us, and I believe Clovis Archange is also watching. So, thank you. Great game. We were actually just talking about the fabulous game that the U18 Academy had
Let's
against.
talk about this young man. Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
this young man.
yeah. So let's start with local soccer because there is a lot outside of the professional scene going on. And gentlemen, how are you doing? By the way, I just got so excited. How are you guys doing today, David, Misael,
Good,
and
good,
John?
good.
He's doing good.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm not home. I'm on the road behind enemy lines in Fort Lauderdale, going to training for my job and missing the family, of course. I hate being away from home, but those season tickets are not gonna pay for themselves, so I gotta do what I gotta do. But at least I get to be with you guys talking about our passion, Orlando City. And once we do the greetings and all that, I want to talk about what's happening with our academy because here we give love to the organization. We just
Yeah,
don't concentrate on the top. There's some heat coming out of the academy. I want to talk about that.
yeah. And we have a lot. There's a lot been going on this past weekend
Yes, I get
or
to.
since we last met. So, um, we have the Generation Adidas Cup that's going on. We're going to talk about that. Um, there's also a couple of other local soccer tournaments. There's the Florida Youth Soccer Association State Cup that's going on. There is the International Copa Rayados tournament that's going on, and that's local here. And there's also the Dallas Cup that we have, or that the organization has a bunch of teams in. Um, so where should we start, gents? What else do you have to? Anything you guys want to share before we dive into the academy stuff?
No, I
Okay,
said we
so
jump into it.
absolutely, I want to go first, guys, because I've been aching all day to talk about this.
Go for it, man. It's all
First
you.
of all, this podcast, by the way, my apologies to everybody. My audio forgot my microphone at home. So, um, this podcast has always given love to OCB, to the academy, to our guys that leave the academy, go to college, and all that. I feel that this club is nothing without the youth that is the youths
You.
that are coming up the ladder, right? And right now, as you guys can see on the screen, some important results this past weekend. The one that obviously jumps at you is the 3-0 result against LAFC. And for those that are watching us, there's an image there, and that's of a guy coming out of nowhere. I'm not gonna pretend I'm an insider. I knew about this. This young man, Clovis, and Clovis, I'm gonna butcher your last name, but it's nothing new over here. Archange. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We're gonna learn how to pronounce it correctly.
The
The
best the
Canadian.
best footballers in the world go by their first name, so it can just be Clovis for us.
All right, Clovis. Clovis, this Canadian young man who will be turning 17 July 1st of this year. Literally on fire. And, the club is giving him a lot of love. I have to say, this center back is giving a lot to be said and dissected. We already seen how Caraballo made that jump, and the word on the street is this kid, this young cat, should be following him as well. I am impressed at the fact that we no longer are talking about grown men making the jump like in years past. We're talking about kids that mom and dad have to drive them to the stadium. They're not old enough to drive. So I am very proud of the results that our academy is producing. This shows dedication. This shows will, and also shows that the club cares about our future. While other people are investing millions in players already past their prime, here in Orlando City, we are investing in the future. And if you think, well, where are we gonna lead all these young men? There's only 18 players that suit up for game day. Well, there's players that we keep saying, take the pictures, get the stuff signed, because they're not gonna be here long enough. We already see Freeman, in my opinion, a player that his destiny is across the ocean. Same with Duncan McGuire. So with that emptiness, somebody has to fill it in. So I finished with this. I just want to say how proud I am to see this young talent coming up, because at the end of the day, that's what football clubs do. They foster talent, they grow talent. And a reminder to everybody, Facundo Torres, a player that came here and left a memorable impression. He was a young guy that his club, his parent club, groomed and train and place into a position of success. It's time that we need to start doing that here in the United States, and why not here at Orlando City? Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, that result Saturday, I saw on X several other several accounts, international accounts from overseas, post the result of our academy beating Inter's academy. That's a huge result. Um, I saw the highlights of it. Looked like we were the antagonists the majority of the game. From what the highlights look like could have been a penalty that Caraballo won. And just to add on to what David said, you look at the guys that we have in our academy right now, or that are playing for the U18s right now, that have already made that jump and received homegrown contracts. You have Caraballo, you have Gusky. They're playing with the U18s right now, so they're not with the senior squad or the reserves. And Caraballo, from what I could tell in the highlights, absolutely dominated. Um, and it's that's one thing when Poppy came in, 5 years ago at this point, that he said that really needed to change culturally in Orlando City was our academies. You look what he did in Dallas the short time he was there for their academy. And I mean, it's just showing, leaps and bounds. I mean, to start undefeated, um, in the is it the Georgia Cup or
It's the Generation Adidas Cup.
Generation Adidas? Yeah, Generation Adidas Cup. I mean, that's one of the big international tournaments for youth soccer, if not the biggest. And to see our U18s going out there standing toe to toe with one of the biggest, most historical academies in the world, gives you a great sense of pride and really shows where this club's heading in the future. I know, here on the show, sometimes we're not the most patient with results and letting things pan out the way they should, or if you will, trusting the process or whatever. But, this just shows that our future is bright. Our future's, the future of the state's purple and the future of the league's purple. Because if they're dominating at this level, eventually it's going to show through on the senior team, and the young guys are going to have to get their breakthrough to play.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely, and also, I have another shot here of our U16s, our U16 Academy. with the one result that we have that we're aware of against Columbus, and it looks like it went to penalties, and they won in penalties 4-3. So, congrats to them also. You know, John, it's funny you say that about like the talent and the um, just the overall vibe of the sport, because like I was mentioning before, there are all of these tournaments going on right now, like this weekend. I was telling Misael, I was over at the U.S. Youth Soccer's State Cup. There's like over 300 teams just from the state of Florida. The talent is just mind-boggling. So to think that these kids, I mean, they're not all academy kids, obviously, but it's just, to me, it's what we always talk about how the sport needs to develop from the ground up, and that's the right stage. The problem is when the money starts to get involved. We all know that, right? Then you have the Dallas Cup that's going on. We have a bunch of that one. There's over 300 teams. They have Liga MX there. They have teams from other countries there coming in. So like the Orlando City Soccer School that my son is a part of, their MLS Next teams, they're over there representing Orlando City. So and then like I mentioned, there's this other one, the Rayados Cup, that starts on Wednesday. They have over 400 international teams coming into the Orlando area. Uh,
Wow.
but it's crazy. The talent, to see the talent is really, really reassuring for the future of the sport. Like I see some of these kids, and they're still young kids, and I'm like, I've accomplished nothing with my life. 'Cause at that age, there's, you know what I mean. You see some of these kids, and you're like, oh my god, what? Okay, I'm gonna go home now.
Yep.
Seriously, it's crazy, but it's really nice to see. So I hope we're headed in the right
Well, and it's like Stuart kept saying, our friend from over in England, when
direction.
we went to
Hmm.
the preseason friendly together, the season ticket member friendly, and I mean, you were there with us, David. I mean, how
Yeah.
many times did he just out of nowhere say, I mean, you guys are doing it right. This club's doing it right. You're developing the talent young. You're developing the academy. You're bringing in these young players. You're not doing what other teams are doing and spending all this money to get better. You're doing it internally.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at, I mean, and that, him and I talked a little bit more about it on the way home. And what that leads to is when we have all these players coming up, that just leaves you with a full pool basically of cash that you can throw at a big time transfer that's going to really push you over the top to not just win the league, to win Champions Cup, to make a good appearance maybe in a Club World Cup, stuff like competitions like that, to where it really puts your name on the map globally. And just seeing these young guys do it at in the academy and the um, youth teams is such an impressive thing. And really, like I said, I mean, you can't say anything other than, to me, it just gives you a sense of pride and what our club's doing.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought up Stu, because he um, he was very sincere at that time, and I know we have mentioned this many times, but here's a guy that is exposed to great football, and he basically saw something that we couldn't see, and he's a club on the rise. And like John said, he mentioned before, we're very, after 10, 11 seasons, 10 years in the league, we're very desperate because of success, because we have seen clubs do very little in achieving that goal already of a championship. So, and last year to be that close and to fall so stupidly, I don't want to say that, because it basically like attacks people. I mean, it wasn't in the course. It was cruel and unpredictable, like we say. And our friends too, who's Bradford City is second in League Two. That means automatic promotion. So I just want to throw that out there for our good friend who watches us the day after, because obviously it's in the middle of the night for him. But yeah, I mean, the reality is, to close this loop, is if you're an Orlando City fan, you should be very proud that that we are investing in the future. That's gonna pay off tomorrow. We know that's not true. And the worst thing for a sports fan or a football fan, for that matter, is to ask that person to be patient. To me, the greatest fu that the club can throw to a fan is like, trust the process. Let's be patient. Let's wait, right? Because we want it now. We want it now. So yeah. So with that said, I think I'm very excited for what's going to happen. Orlando City's academy is in the top 10 in the U.S. right now, and like I said, a source of pride and excitement for all of us. Besides, you want to close this loop with some thoughts because we have more things to dig our claws
No, no,
in.
no. I think you guys have said it all.
All right. I want to mention something that in our pre-show we forgot to mention. This past week, Infantino, the corrupt head of FIFA, was in town.
I forgot
And
to get the screenshot that you posted.
yeah, bro, it's all good. Listen, you want to see an Italian, bald-headed, corrupt, money hungry individual. You can go online and find him. I had to say, one of the things is, for those that don't know, for World Cup, Orlando's gonna be a host. Is I believe is the only city that has two stadiums hosting games.
Hmm.
That's our beautiful home at Inter and Co. Stadium, and our former home. To me, it's always gonna be the Citrus Bowl or
Camping World. Yeah.
Campion World, right? So I'm excited about that. Very proud. I wish we could have hosted World Cup here, but with the limited amount of cities, I guess it makes sense to have it in Miami. I guess.
They went where the money was for them. Come on.
I think at the end of the day, what won was the fact that Camping World did not had a roof. Which personally, if you give us money, we can build anything in no time.
Neither,
But
but Hard Rock doesn't.
it doesn't.
No.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Okay,
have a
so
roof,
throw that out the window.
I do think it's enough to cover the people. Not the field, obviously, not the pitch, but
Eh,
kind of like the people. The Camping World, they have some money they just got that they're gonna soon do some renovations.
well, the
Um,
the the Women's World Cup is coming in 2030 something. So perhaps we may be lucky and host at that point. But the situation with Infantino is, he came, they brought the trophy to the stadium. The club obviously, did the right thing, which is to, here at the end of the day, he's the head of FIFA. So we have to have a deference and we have to be professionals and polite. I'm a fan, and I'm gonna call it how it is. We are here. We don't have strings attached or loyalties. He's a scumbag, and I'm not afraid to say that. And he helps. What he did by putting Miami, but by gift to Miami, I think it's like $9.5 million for participation, while ignoring LA Galaxy, which is the rightful owner of that spot, is beyond me. But hey, it is what it is, right? But at the end of the day, hopefully we'll make some money out of this deal. We'll have the eyes of the world on our city, and we'll give the football fans what they want. I know that Manchester City is gonna be playing here. It's if you're a Manchester City fan, congratulations, because I know it's gonna be a feast. I know what it feels like to want to see your team and for them to make it to you. So. Uh, with that said, I think at the end of the day, I thought that it's we should be honored that our stadium was chosen. But yeah, screw you, Infantino, and your boy FIFA El Pesi.
I thought the most hilarious thing about that post was that the comments were all turned off.
Yep.
He knows.
that was
Don't call him stupid. He knows.
that was just the best thing ever. It was just like it was like the ultimate comment by turning off the comments. It's like we
Yeah,
know what you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
say, so but we're not
Hmm.
gonna let you. All right. Around the league, anything we want to talk about outside of the immediate stuff going on in the league? Notable games, wins, losses, anything interesting?
I don't think there. I'm reviewing here. I don't think there's anything. Allow me, as you guys, we got you. We got you used to top quality pre gaming here. Oh, OCB. How can we forget OCB?
Yeah,
Nails it on the road. One
against
nil over
New England.
New England Revolution 2.
Yeah,
Who was the goal scorer? Nobody but the
Shaq.
Shaq Attack himself,
Shack Attack.
Shaq Mohammed.
Shaq
What a
Muhammad.
banger! The type of bangers that wake up the dead, cure hiccups, and cure diseases. And I can tell you, I gotta say, Shaq Mohammed, humble man. What I like about Shaq is he's not afraid of being himself. He's a person of faith, very humble man, young man, and a hard worker. And I can tell you that I'm rooting for him. Hard work does pay off, and I know that right now the position of striker is very very packed. In the first team, but I'm a firm believer that within the next 2 years, Shaq Mohammed's going to find a place in our first team, and it's gonna be one where he's gonna go bonkers. So what I like the most is that he's super humble. He knows, hey, I'm just gonna have to cut my teeth in OCB for a little bit, and he just goes out there and pulls performances. Um, and at the end of the day, that's all I'm asking. And by the way, in the image that I may put there on the screen, I have to say this: the OCB squad this year that's a team. Those guys do care about each other. It's not, hey, I want to shine because I want to go to the first team. Me. These guys are really playing for one another, and to me, that speaks volumes of the quality of our coaching, the philosophy in our academy. These kids want to succeed, want to go far in their careers, but at the same time, they are not doing so by stepping on somebody else's shoulders. They're there to win and support one another. So I want to mention that. And once again, invite everybody. If you haven't been to an OCB game, please do yourself a favor. Go personally, because of all the stuff that I have going on in my life right now. I can't go to as many games as I would like to, but you better believe it. I'm always watching. So with that said, we need to start supporting OCB. We need to start supporting OCB, and it's critical to me that the club continues to do this. If you're a season ticket holder, free ticket, or perhaps, uh, you know, like May is coming up. Next month is the end of the school year. How about we give out free tickets to kids that are graduating or kids that have good grades? You know what I mean? Let's
Mhm.
do that. Jared, I'm giving, I don't know why are we paying for a marketing team when this podcast is always
Here we
throwing
go.
out ideas, guys. I don't know. Jared, I know you're listening. Let's reward the kids in Central Florida and give them free tickets to OCB. I'm telling you, it's gonna mean a lot for the boys on the pitch and a lot for the kids that are, because to be honest with you, if you're a teenager, you can see yourself represented on the pitch versus the first
100%.
team.
100%.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you guys
And
think?
yeah, no, I agree. And I think a big part of it too is that for the younger crowd, the great thing about the OCB games is that because it's a smaller venue, it's a
Correct.
smaller crowd, it's more intimate. They have more of an opportunity to interact with the players. Like
Free parking.
yeah, free parking, please, yeah. Just not having to park in downtown. How about that?
Mhm.
um, but the players are more accessible. Like the last time we were there, Sukada was in the audience, um, in on his crutches. Right,
Well,
he
you
was
had
there.
Sakata there, you had
Yeah,
Freeman there,
but that's what
uh,
I mean. You have all the players, and it's a
Pareja
laid
was
back
there.
feel.
there.
That'll never happen at Exploria.
Poppy
You know.
was what, 5 rows behind us, David?
Yeah.
Right, Ricardo Moreira was there.
Yep.
The families of the players, which, by the way, several people approached us. Thank you very much for the kind words as always. So to me is a gathering of the OC sickos. You know what I mean? You really love football. You really love Orlando City football. You're gonna have a blast beyond the pitch. What happens in the pitch is great, but beyond that, you're gonna have a great opportunity to mingle with the players. Just sit there, just like anybody else, and watch some great football. And I think it's a fantastic venue too, man. It's just so intimate.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
so if
the
you haven't,
the crazy thing about this match is the goal that Shaq scored was the first goal that New England has given up this season.
wow,
Oh wow.
The win vaulted Orlando City B into second place, behind Chattanooga, and you got to remember Chattanooga is a independent club. They don't have a senior team, so they have a lot of more veteran players. It's not a reserve team. It's Chattanooga's team,
it's a team, yeah.
and we're only 3 points behind them. Chattanooga's our only loss this year, where we lost at Chattanooga, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really, it was a game all the way to the till the end, to late in the match when we started to push a little bit for it, and Chattanooga scored in the 77th and 84th minute. So I mean, overall, it was our match to win up until the very end.
And we were depleted, John. We had some
Yeah,
of our guys
that was
playing with the first team.
that was the match a couple weeks ago. Um, that the OCB their match started at 7 and ours started at 7:40 or whatever it was when we who did we play that match?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even
You
remember.
guys,
That's when the whole bar incident, the restaurant incident happened with me. So it's
Yeah, yeah. It's not-
you guys think that not so many people are invested, or is the location of the stadium? Because
I
for me to
honestly
get
think it just
for
has
me
to
to
do
get
with
there is
marketing
far.
it. Because when they give out the free tickets or have the discounted tickets
People come.
advertised at the stadium on match day, the Orlando City Stadium, when it's advertised on match day, then it's a good crowd the next match.
Yeah,
When
people will
Right.
show to that stadium. I've been there for the when they used to have it as a baseball stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to work there as an EMT, and the stands would be packed. So people will go there. It's just you have to get them there. You have to tell them what's there,
Right.
and to John's point, when they market it, when people know about it, when they do like the back to school stuff, people will go.
No, and I'm gonna add to that. I mean, I think fans like us and the audience of this show who are really invested. Not everybody's like that. In fact,
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Jose. I haven't seen him in 31 years since we graduated high school, and he messaged me Saturday that he was at the game, and I was like heartbroken because I wasn't there. And I would have loved to see him, but he was motivated to go because I post so much about Orlando City on Facebook. And I gotta go check it out. Unfortunately, not the game to go, if you
Mhm.
ask me. But he said that he was gonna come back, that he had fun. I think for the most part is very poor advertising. We never see anything about OCB in town. You never do. You never do. And when you look at the Solar Bears, which are a third division hockey team, they get a lot of love. The Osceola Magic, which by the way are in the playoffs, they get a lot of love, right? In OCB, somehow we're stashing it away as, oh, it's just the reserves. Not to me. To me, these are the future stars of our club. Let's go and support those guys. And so we're not advertising. And then the other thing is, I'm sorry, charging the same price that you would for a ticket at Explorer, at Inter and Co. Excuse me, to see the first team is not smart. It's lesser quality. Let's just call it for what it is, and it's not the stars. It's not MLS. It's not the
Yeah.
big stadium. So if you were to charge a little less at a discount, you're gonna, again, doing the marketing department's job here, you may be able to grab that demographic that can't make it to the big game because it costs too much money, or perhaps the casual fan, or perhaps we catch the fans from Europe that want to catch a game while in town but our team is away. Okay, those are the type of people that you're gonna be able to get. And yes, the location may not be the best. If you are in Seminole and Volusia County, driving to Osceola for the reserve game, perhaps not
But you know
not
what? Though? It's
appealing.
not that bad. It's right off of the turnpike, so it's
It's
not.
Right.
pretty.
It's not.
It's pretty far for me
But
though. I think
when
coming out
when we
from it's pretty
played
far.
when we played in Mount Verde, how many people went there? When we played in Melbourne, how many people went? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and when OCB played at the stadium, they never had more than 100 people show up for the games.
I think it's a
So
lack of marketing. There needs to be consistent marketing. The problem with it is there's a cost to the club for that. And if they don't see the value in it, they're just going to say, you know what? Whoever shows, shows, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because I think there's a big market for it. And you have a lot of people who are potential new fans. They'll become season ticket holders for the first team.
listen, I have seen people online surprised that we have our reserve team.
Yeah.
People are new fans, okay, 1 2 years, casuals. There's a segment of our fan base that goes to the games religiously, but they leave and that's it. They hang up their hat. They don't consume podcasts. They don't, maybe aside from social media, giving a like or a heart or whatever. They just, and that's fine. I'm not saying they're not real fans. It's just for whatever reason, not everybody is, Orlando City 24/7. So,
You know what,
like some
though?
of us,
You know what though? To your point, David. What about somebody signs up for season tickets for the first team? Give them
Mhm.
half a season of Pride, half a season of OCB. Just give it to them in their account.
genius. But you know what?
And that
Unfortunately,
doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be all the time. Just your first season. Like how you have all those perks for your first
oh,
season.
brother,
For your first season, half a season of OCB, half a season of Pride, or guess
say
what?
less, my
You
friend.
pick. You pick. Right? You pick Pride, OCB, and you get a free season.
You guys are giving away the house, man. You guys are giving away tickets, free
That's,
marketing. You guys
that's
are giving away the house.
But
Listen,
dude,
cost
they
them
do it
nothing,
anyway,
brother.
right? They
Empty
do it.
seats make no money.
But it's what I'm saying is you have the people there. They're just not reaching out to them. Anyway, you know what? We could talk about this forever. So let's move on. Let's move on. So our counterparts, our female counterparts, the Orlando Pride. Misael, when was this match?
This was on Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, the Pride is
Oh,
currently
sorry,
in
sorry,
first
Saturday.
Saturday.
Sorry.
Sorry, Saturday.
Yes.
First place ended the result at 1-0. Came out with 3 points. So we are back to back
Back-to-back champions. I'm calling it.
champions. Guess what? You know how many points the Pride have right now?
Tell us.
12.
12 points. You know how many points we have right now? 12 points.
Oh my goodness.
You know what place we're not in right now? First.
Yeah, that's true.
But they are in first place. So a huge shout out to the Pride because as of that match, they have a goal differential of plus 10. 11 goals scored, 1 conceded, and making them the first team in the NWSL history to score a plus 10 goal differential in their first 4 matches of a season. Can you believe
And that
our goal
and
differential?
that was a tough match. Seattle, they made them earn it. Especially the second half. The second half, they just they buckled down, and it was just all them. It was very very hard. They we pulled it off, but they fought. Now this Saturday they're going to be here at home versus Washington Spirit, who's in third place. We have 12 points. They have 9 points. Um, and that's who we played. Isn't that who we played in the final last year? I believe that's who we won. That's who we
Yeah.
beat. Yeah. So yeah, they're probably gonna want revenge. So go out and
Mm,
support the girls as well.
yeah, for sure.
They have played double. We've played double the amount of games they have. So they're at 4 games. We played 8. Huge shout out to them. Amazing effort. I hope with everything in my heart that streak continues. Um, I
Well, I can tell you,
yeah,
the league has reinforced themselves with a lot of good talent
yeah,
and still can't beat us. So, power to the girls. And, not for nothing. I mean, it brings me a lot of pride to see how the coaching staff, whether calling it a storm is an understatement. Seb Hines was handed a flaming bag of trash, and he has transformed that team into one of the best female clubs in the world. And we went from putting every huge talent from the world into one basket and couldn't do anything. Proof that big names don't matter. It's heart, it's desire, is grit, and that's what the girls have right now. And like I said, another championship may be coming our way.
yes.
We got a comment there from Serge.
Oh yeah. Serge says, Volusia County has no clue about pro soccer team in Orlando. Evening to you, boys.
Sadly, that's a fact. Actually, Seminole County barely knows.
Yeah.
I traveled the
Yeah,
whole state, and I can tell you that, uh, you know, maybe Orange County is peppered with these billboards. You start moving 10 feet away from the county border, and you don't know what's going on. So we gotta do something about it, I guess.
I mean, they really, according to what and I know we'll talk more about the game later, but according to what the attendance they released, they don't really need to do much.
All right.
yeah.
On that note, on that note, so this past Saturday, April, what was the date, gents?
Well,
April
well,
12th at 4:30 in the blazing afternoon. Miss
Oh,
Ayala and I sat in the sun, soaking in the rays, reminding me of
getting a nice
what
tan.
why I did not love daytime games. Let me tell you. I was telling him one time I was at the wall at a noon kickoff, and by the end of the day, oh my goodness, yeah, I was hoping for rain. Put it that way. It kind of that game kind of reminded me of that. So anyway, we welcomed the New York Red Bulls into our home, and we ended on a draw. You know,
Another nil-nil.
yeah, another 0-0 draw for us.
I love how admin spawned that by saying, another clean sheet.
yeah.
you know,
My favorite is when they say still undefeated at home. You know,
come on now.
save that for somebody who believes you. Like really, like what is that?
Not
Undefeated at home.
undefeated at home. We lost to Philadelphia the first match.
Well, when was it they said that then? Somebody said that.
It was
Well,
unbeaten in our last X amount.
I'm being the
5 games
last.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Whatever. It's still BS. Come on. Like really. 0-0, 0-0 against the Red Bulls. I'm sure we're gonna get into it.
Uh,
I was, you could have looked at this game a lot of different ways. Um, we had our good moments, we had our bad moments, we had our slap my forehead moments. I kept thinking of what Miguel Gallardo says about winning the games at home, and I'm like,
you gotta win at home.
what are we doing? We need to win the games at home. What frustrated me was not the loss, was that at some point I felt like we were going for the draw. It's not a I don't care if we lose, going for the win. If we
Hmm.
lose going for the draw, or if we tie because I felt like we went for the draw, I felt like at some point we just gave up. And I know, we're down a guy, whatever, blah blah blah. I say that's just a whole bunch of this, a whole bunch of talk. All right. So, gents, what were your thoughts on the match? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first because I think everybody was at the game but me. I can tell you, I rarely miss a game, especially one on the weekend. It just happened that I had a lot of stuff going on since I was gonna be away from home for the next 2 weeks. And looking at the game, I'm glad I didn't show up. I don't think I go to the games with my little one with Ivy, who's 2 years, almost 2 years old. I don't think sitting there with a toddler under the sun, might as well go and try to give a bath to angry lynx. Probably would have been a better, a better result. Um, I understand why the league does what they do with these early games because they want to, to have the European market be able to watch this at a decent time. But at the same time, for Florida, this anything beyond 6:30, it's just not a go. At least technically this is in the spring and it was nice weather. Excuse me, but I've been there like Ahmed has said in the summer, under the heat, and if you are sitting on the eastern side of the stadium, now I know what hot dogs at 7-Eleven feel like. It's ridiculous, man. So I have to say, and I finished with this. We had the chances to score at the end of the game. The Spanish crew interview Luis Muriel, and he said, "Hey, this was my fault. I had 3 chances, didn't put them away. Because I guess he was already saying, throw the blame at Schlegel. We had the opportunity to win it. We looked dangerous in the first half. Tale of Two Cities should have been the the name of the episode. But it was disappointing. And I think, guys, I told you after the end of the game, I thought it was disappointing. And if you want to grow the fan base, people go for the goals. And back to back games, 0-0, definitely is not doing anybody any favors. I'll take the point. At the end of the day, all points count. But I was expecting more from the guys.
Yeah, piggybacking, off what you just said right there, that we had chances and stuff. I know the excuse is going to be, oh, we were down a man, which is the truth. But I thought we were holding our own even when he was gone. That we had a lot of chances and we could have closed it out. And like Ahmed said, it's just the way we went about it. Me and him were sitting together, and we just kept seeing Pedro just holding the ball, killing time, killing the clock. And it's like we're not winning. Like it's a nil-nil draw, and they're not really threatening us that much. Like, why not go for it? And he kind of wanted to when he brought in Enrique and Duncan. I know he brought in some defense, but he also brought in some offense. I considered Atuesta also a big help of the offense. I think we could have just went for it more. And like you said, yeah, I was just disappointed. But at least we, like you said, it's a point. We didn't lose 5 games without a loss. So yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, how many times have we or myself said it week in, week out about Schlegel starting. I mean, how many points a year is it going to be acceptable for a starting center back to cost us? Cost us a playoff game 2 seasons ago. Cost us, that I can remember last year, um, at least 2 wins and maybe another draw in there. Cost us, I don't care what anybody says, without a shadow of a doubt, I know we were going to pull out a win that game on Saturday because we were too threatening. We were getting better and better and better as the half was growing on. Even after their goalkeeper in the first half tried to fake an injury to slow us down, we were still right back up their throat in the attacking end. Honestly, the first 55 minutes I thought was some of our best attacking play of the season as far as breaking them down. We had a bunch of opportunities. The ball was just getting pinged around the field. It was absolutely beautiful. And then Schlegel happens. I wish we could have had a screen grab of where his challenge happened, but for a center back to be challenging directly off of a throw in on the sideline, 50, 60 yards from net, and to come in with a high kick like he did, you're just asking to get a yellow card. And and that takes away the fact that you're already on one because you're too lazy to try to hustle back and not get beat by their number 10. Instead, you pull on his jersey. It's an automatic yellow card. Rewatch the match last night to make sure that's what the yellow card was for, and you see the ref clearly point back to where Schlegel grabbed. I always forget his name.
Forsberg.
Number 10. What is it?
Forsberg.
You
Yeah.
see Forsberg pass it off, spin around Schlegel, and Schlegel just reaches out and grabs his collar. It's an automatic yellow card. I don't care. If he doesn't do that, you can't tell because it's kind of far away, which is why it was only a yellow card. If he does that 30 yards closer to net, it could be a red card, straight red card. I'm just sick and tired of seeing this guy do it season in, season out. When is enough going to be enough? Yes, he's a good guy. He's a good locker room guy. He tries hard. But, I mean, me and my dad were talking the other night about it. I think it was last night. And it's almost like he's just trying to get away with as much as he can. That's not what you want a center back doing. We only get, so many subs a game and so many windows. You can't be sitting there as a center back, one of the three main people on our defense between the other center back and the goalie. You can't be sitting there trying to get away with fouls. You can't be challenge it, but don't put a high boot. He beats you to it with his head. Let him on. It was off a throw-in. Use your brain every once in a while when it matters. Schlegel cost us that game. Yes, should Muriel have put a couple away early? Absolutely, especially the one right at the beginning. Absolutely, but he didn't. So guess what? You're a team. You're supposed to pick each other up. Schlegel 100% left his team down. If Janssen's a good captain, he should be going right up to Schlegel after that game and saying, you have to be better. Because we haven't seen any progression in Schlegel's, that part of Schlegel's game. The mental game Schlegel has costs us too many points every year for us to be a true contender in the MLS, let alone in the Champions Cup if we may ever make it back there again.
Do you think, really quick? Do you think? Sorry to cut you off. Do you think that Poppy maybe feels like he has no choice since Santos is not good defensively? Because do you think with Brekalo coming back from injury, he would go back to starting Brekalo over Schlegel if Santos was, that we can count on him?
No.
I mean, maybe he feels like he has no choice.
I mean, I've said it before, and one of my big irritants about Poppy is I feel like he has his boys he wants to start, and I feel like Schlegel's a part of that group of boys he wants to start. Kind of the reason Ojeda took forever to come into the starting lineup. His hand was forced. I feel like Duncan isn't a part of that. He think about 2 years ago, Duncan was scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring, and had to be put in there eventually. So no, I don't feel like Brekalo would be put in there. I think this next match he will be because Schlegel's not going to be available.
Yeah.
Right.
But Unless he has the game of his career for us, I think it's Schlegel right back in there, and Brecalo they're going to put out as left back.
He's
No, and
grandfathered in from his goalkeeping moment.
yeah, well, absolutely. I have said it before. I think we discussed this before the show started. Where if you look back at Schlegel has some incredible moments for the club. Obviously, the playing goalkeeper, it's probably highlight of everybody's fandom. Also, we got to remember he's the one that scored the equalizer against Nashville in during our Open Cup run. So he has had moments where we, win games and we move ahead in tournaments because of him. But unfortunately, when you look at who's out there getting double yellows or straight reds or conceding penalties, it's Rodrigo Schlegel by a long shot. And one thing that he does that drives me nuts is when people are diving. We know Rodrigo. We know they're diving. Why in the world do you have to stand over them and yell at them, scream? Ah! Okay, well, you know what you're doing? You're inviting the ref's wrath, and he's not gonna be kind to you next time you throw punch somebody or give a karate chop or whatever. The second yellow, I think that there was a lot of the Red Bulls player lowering his head. He knew the high boot was coming, and he was hoping that the ref was going to do
Veteran
what he
move.
had to do. But at the end of the
You
day,
can
yeah,
make what excuses you want, David. You
yeah, man.
can't put your boot high. You're like, there's
No,
no reason
absolutely,
for a center back to put his boot high off of a throw in 50, 60 yards from goal.
no,
Absolutely, really anybody, honestly, in that
absolutely,
situation.
Me and the man were
so
sitting right there. I don't even think it touched him.
What's
really,
that?
Me and the man were sitting right there, and I don't think it touched his
Oh
face.
no, in the replays you could 100% see contact with the
Oh yeah.
laces. Oh yeah,
oh, wow,
it would have been the side away from you guys. It kind of hit him, you know, yeah, on the right side. You guys would have been more on the left side
mm,
probably. It either way. Back to my point, even if it didn't, you can't give the referee that opportunity
Yeah.
to make a mistake because
now,
that's not reviewable. It's not a straight red. It's only a yellow. It's not a
guys,
great,
before
it's not a serious error on the ref's part, so it's not even reviewable.
before we go into the comments, I want to ask you guys this question: are we giving Rodrigo Schlegel too much of the benefit of the doubt because it's just a game in the season versus a final or a game in a tournament where win or go home? Are we saying okay, Rodrigo's gonna Schlegel, right? Or should we be mad that this happened? But we're not doing so because, well, next week we
Well,
got another game.
well, to me, that goes back to when I said the Angulo moment when he started raging that they were taking him out of the game.
Mhm.
Remember that? That's why I said that with this league not having relegation, I feel like the season should be used for later on as like a practice for like when we get to the playoffs or further. Don't do these little mistakes. And to me, those are like moments like that where Schlegel, like John said, where Johnson should pull him aside after the game, and you can't do this. Practice that. Use the season to practice these things. So when it really does matter, um, you don't do those little mistakes. I think it's subconsciously sometimes these guys probably think there's no relegation, so this is just another game. I don't know.
I mean, I agree. I'd agree with you if this was 2 seasons ago when he first really became a starter. But we're now in season number 3. The dude goes to ground anytime there's a shot in the box. He consistently every year gets double yellowed at least once, if not multiple times a season, costing us points, costing us a playoff match, potential trophy, whatever it may be. Constantly has mental errors where he's too aggressive and giving up really good opportunities, if not just straight up giving up a goal. I mean, how many times have I showed you guys screenshots in our group chat of, oh, this one's on Schlegel because he stepped out 20, he stepped out to try to intercept a pass 25 yards. The the forward or whoever was in front of him getting the pass shielded him off, turned, and only had him and only had the ball and Gillespie between him and the goal.
Do we
It
throw
happened,
Williams in that spot, guys?
It has to be like last season when, remember, in July we got red hot last season, and we were just nonstop winning games, and he was so solid. I think just Poppy just looks at stuff like that, I guess, where I think he's just giving him a chance. Like, he's gonna come back. He's gonna have his couple months span of brilliance, and I don't know. And maybe
Do we
that's an
throw
excuse.
Williams next game since we obviously Schlegel's gonna be a no?
Say that again.
Do we throw Williams at that spot, center back, since Schlegel's
In
a
this
no-go?
in this podcast, we would.
Right,
If
but
Poppy
Actually,
would.
I personally would not because it's not a like for. No offense to Thomas, you guys know I'm one of
no,
the
for sure.
Thomas Williams fans in the world, but it's not a like for like replacement.
But on an
Thomas plays left.
emergency, any tool is a hammer, my friends. So
Yes, but we do have Brekalo, who's been
okay,
on good
no,
form.
for sure.
To me, you put him at right back. Janssen's been Janssen and always in incredible form. And you roll the cards with either Santos or Kyle Smith out left. If you want to do more of a like for Brekalo, it'd be Smith. If you want to, add some attacking prowess, it'd be Santos on the left.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would handle it.
Gotcha. Ahmed, can we read some of these comments that are piling up? Who wants to read?
I think he's on mute. He's on mute. He is reading it.
You know what?
Okay.
My bad. Sorry, guys. Johnny Ridner
Okay.
says all we're asking is for the game to be exciting again. Wins or draws
Absolutely.
are fine, but damn, man, people were bored. Thank you. That's what
Oh, yeah.
Michael and I were saying, man. It's like it's not about drawing. It's about it felt like we were going for the draw. We should feel like we're always going for that win, even if
Especially at home.
exactly.
Ahmed, what made you feel that? What happened in the game that made you feel that way, my good friend?
Oh my god, dude, come on. Where do I begin? How about the subs? When you start subbing it, I mean, we all know it. When the Kyle Smith comes in, what are we doing?
There you go.
What are we doing? What are we
Parking the
doing?
bus.
Going for the draw,
White
right?
flag. White flag.
And it was just the way we were going about it. Yes, we were down a man, right? But Misael and I said that whole time we were down a man, and it was quite some time. We were not up against the wall, but it felt like we were just, you know what? Let's just hold them off.
Mhm.
Why? We had opportunities that we were not taking advantage of. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I mean, you guys are 100% right. I mean, I think, one of my favorite things in Ted Lasso, well, there's a lot of favorite things, but in the last season, somebody gets sent off at halftime. And I think it was Coach Beard comes in and says, all right, guys, we're a man down. What do we change? And everybody responds, absolutely nothing. You look at how we were absolutely dominant. We gave up one shot the entire half, none on goal, or entire first half.
Yeah.
They had one shot on goal the entire game. You look at how we were dominating. To me, the way we were dominating them, you could have shifted, like you guys were talking about the subs, you could have shifted things around to where bring Santos in for, the one sub I didn't like was bringing somebody in for Marco, but bring Santos in for Schlegel, or not Schlegel, sorry, for now the name escapes me. Murillo.
Okay.
Okay, who obviously wasn't having a good match, missed one definite sitter, possibly two. And it gives you, to me, and maybe I'm stupid for thinking this, but gives you more space. We obviously were the more athletic team. We were obviously the more cohesive team. Gervais, the positioning of that dude shows what French soccer is all about. That dude's positioning in this last match was absolutely incredible. That guy, I mean, there were several times he was in a position I just went, perfect. You could not have been in better position,
Same, we
defensively
got
and
that kid in the
and
draft.
offensively.
What about
So I wanted to make sure I brought him up.
yeah?
Yeah,
What
for no,
about
no, insane that we got that kid for free, guys.
what about the few
Mhm.
moments of brilliance that we saw towards the end with Freeman and Duncan? There
Mhm.
was
My
there
goodness.
was like a good last like 10 minutes where I was like, holy crap, what the hell's going on? They were just like in the zone. I it was just it had that started about another 10, 15 minutes earlier, who knows what would have happened.
And we
Well,
have won games with 10 men.
Yeah,
We have won games
yeah,
with 10 men
he
before.
brought in Enrique at the like 82nd minute. Like, what do you expect the guy to do?
and I know we're going to get to my dad's
Yeah.
comments.
Let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
put
for
him on
sure.
there.
Yeah, go
Let me-
ahead because I got
yeah,
one more
let,
thing to say.
yeah, let
real
me
quick.
put him on there. Ray says the worst kind of OC moment, Schlegel moment. He goes on to say, I've seen too many Schlegel moments.
Too
And then,
many, yeah, for sure.
and then he goes on to say, um, captain/coach needs to make sure Schlegel's attitude is mostly hurting his own potential.
Hmm.
Schlegel, hold on,
That's
is a
crazy.
not starter, reckless. 20 minutes at the end is a more responsible Schlegel. Good point.
Yeah.
And
But to
then
go, I just thought of a perfect example of how you play down a man.
and
You
then
go back
Serge,
another Schlegel moment,
yeah.
FC Cincinnati last season. Go ahead and read Serge's thing, and I'll finish.
Oh, sorry, it came off. Sorry, I can't.
You're
I
fine.
can't. Serge went on and said Muriel and Duncan better combo.
But
Yeah, I think so.
you go back to the FC Cincinnati match at home last season. What happened in the first half? Schlegel gets sent off, denial of a goal scoring opportunity. My dad didn't catch the beginning of that match when Schlegel got sent off. He didn't realize until the announcer said something that we were playing a man down because we were the people being the instigator. We were on the attack. There's to me the way that match was going, unless guys were dead tired, which nobody really looked to be dead tired up to that point. You're 2/3, you're not even to the 60th minute yet. There's no reason that we should have sat back and just accepted the draw the way we did. I would have liked to see us maintain possession, push forward. Our midfielders were handling is it Forsberg, the number 10 for
Yeah.
them, very well. They didn't have Lewis Morgan, who's out with an injury. They really showed very little to no attacking threat. There's no reason with 10 men that we shouldn't have been able to take that match and been the aggressors on in that, and even after Schlegel left, and potentially came away with a win instead of just hoping to counter. Because what do I always say? A sponge can only soak up so much water. Same with defenses. Defenses can only soak up so much pressure.
A quick piggyback to what you said earlier about Gervais. Gervais, I wanted to shout out Gervais and DDT for handling that New York press. They did a phenomenal job, stepping in for Caesar and Atuesta. A big deal, man. And those guys, it's like we didn't skip a beat.
There was one moment in the first half that Brecalo and Gervais played a 1-2 with each other that broke the press, and it was one of it's what I love about this sport. As simple as a 1-2 is, it was Gervais came to, Brecalo passed. Brecalo was kind of driving upfield. A guy was stepping to him. He passed it to Gervais. The guy that was stepping to Brecalo stepped to Gervais. Gervais played it to Brecalo, and we broke the press. It was a flawless 1-2 that you very rarely see in that situation at any professional level. And it was just it showed the class of both players. For Brecalo to read the situation and recognize, to pass it and continue going, as well as for Gervais to play that one-time pass back to Brecalo to really break down that press. And I mean, yeah, our midfield, for as out of it as they seemed last week against Philly, they really took a step up this week. Full week of practice. knowing that they were going to play. You know, it's a draw that hurts, but it's
Mhm.
also you see what we can. To me, the attack looks so good. It's what we can be. That the first 55 minutes.
Guys, some important info here. I was googling to see if, how many red cards we have averaged since Rodrigo has been here. Unfortunately, not enough data. It says here in the 2025 regular season, Orlando City has a statistic of 0.1 red cards per game. This means that for the year, they're averaging one red card for every 10 games. And if you forget, guys, we had a red card in New York. We had, I feel that I'm missing another one. I think there's three games. And fun fact, I Google how many red cards Orlando has in 2025, and one of the top results here. Who is number 15 in Orlando City? So I mean, he's the guy. He's he. You know, that's unfortunately Rodrigo is for everything that he has done great. I mean, he's the owner of that red card city. Um, so what we gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Um,
look up and see if I can look up and see if I can see how many
we
red
have a
cards he
comment
has.
here that reminded me of a moment while you're looking that up, John. Tour rep said this, and Misael, you'll know exactly the time he was talking about. He said Freeman had New York defenders looking like elementary school players.
You and
Oh
me jumped
my
off our seats.
there was this one moment when Freeman was up against the guy. He didn't even touch the ball. He just faked him out with his body, and everybody in the stadium was like, "Oh!" Because Freeman went one guy, then he went the other way, and the guy just he totally lost him. Like he went to a different
Nasty
time zone.
work.
It
Nasty
was
work.
classic. It goes to show like how simple basic skills make the biggest difference. You know how David, you always talk about Janssen, how he's just a textbook um with his skills, right? Same thing
Mhm.
with Freeman
You,
here. I
when he
can
did that, what I first, sorry to cut you off. What I
no, no,
thought of
no,
immediately when he did that he didn't touch the ball, was probably his father, wide receiver.
absolutely.
It was literally footwork, wide receiver footwork is what he did.
He
And just
lost him like
destroyed
so
that guy.
bad.
Yeah,
He
that guy
lost.
ended up like in the third row.
It was just like, where'd he go?
It was nasty. Yeah, I wish we had that clip. That was nasty.
Yeah, I gotta find that. I'm gonna find that for next week because we just gotta watch that again. It's just nice to appreciate. And then tour rep one goes on to say, "I told you all last week when Schlegel and Brecalo played together, bad things happen."
You did say that.
Understatement, sir.
Thank you for the comments, Europe. You did say that.
Understatement.
How about Marco getting into the dark arts of Orlando City in the first half? They're
Oh
getting
my
the
gosh, very
He
early
almost got
on.
into
I
a
was
fight.
like, yeah,
That what you talking about, John? When he almost got into the fight?
yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that
Unbelievable.
left back for the Red Bulls was so bad that if you guys remember, I think it was in the second half, early in the second half or late in the first half, the ref had to call him over after all that happened to tell him to calm down, settle it down because the dude was playing like a punk, and he had maybe one block shot on Marco, and that's the one where he got up yelling in Marco's face, and then the ref called him over. But yeah, I mean, with the substitutions, I don't understand why you take Marco off in that situation. The dude's having a game. The dude's hunting for the hunting for a goal. Um, take the guy off that's had a stinker. Muriel. He was the one player that you can point to, other than Schlegel with the red card. But you can't control that after it happens. To me, taking Muriel off hasn't really went all 90 minutes all season. Would have been the play. Ojeda can kind of, play that number 10 advanced, and get advanced as more of a striker late. And then you still have your four defensive backs. You still have your two holding midfielders. And, I just don't understand why you don't go for the match longer than we than we waited for.
Oh, that is true. Read that comment there. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
Serge. If I said red card, I meant yellow card at the beginning of the game. If I said red card, that's my mistake. But yeah, he got a yellow card for the shove, and then the player 100% flopped, and then was holding his face trying to get him sent off as well.
But I guess that could also be why Poppy subbed him off, so that way
But
he
then
doesn't pull
you
it.
Yeah, yeah.
sub Schlegel off with a yellow card, who's shown through his career is way more susceptible to getting yellow cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end, it was a matter of protecting us from going down to 9 man. So I understand that part. Guys, we're running out of time, so we should touch the fact that next Saturday, 7:30 p.m., we are heading out to French Canada, to Montreal, to be specific, to play the Montreal. What is it? Impact or FC
Yep.
Montreal? They
CF
can
Montreal.
CF
Club de
Montreal, who right now has 2 points and is 15th on the table for the East. We're seventh. And they just lost 1-0 against Cincinnati last Saturday. They failed to score. They're having the worst season possible. Guys, if we don't go and get 3 points from these guys, what are we doing? Question.
Yeah, I mean, it should, like you just said, yeah, it should be no problem. The way Montreal's looking right now, even though for some reason they always give us trouble, but they look like this season, yeah, they're not playing that well. We should be able to get the 3 points there, um, and we'll see what kind of lineup Poppy brings out, and yeah, we should get it.
Should is the key word there. I'm always afraid when we say we should do something. Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
this is one of those
He needs to
matches
give
that
Duncan and Ricky more minutes. Sorry, go ahead.
this is one of the matches that I think I said 2 or 3 weeks ago that traditionally we tend to give them a win. If a team's struggling and we play them, we traditionally struggle against them, and
Like, don't worry, we'll make you feel better about yourself.
Charity FC.
I hope not. Again, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, John.
He
Well,
needs
I
to
mean,
give
one of us was already wrong. One of us on this panel said that we were getting 0 points this month, and we have 2.
Hey, see, it's working though. It happened last month. See, it's working.
Oh my god.
It's working. They always want to prove me wrong. He needs to give Duncan and Enrique, I think, more minutes.
Yeah,
Find a way. Find a way. Muriel, as good as Muriel has been so far this season, I still don't think he's going to be able to give us 90. So just might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and give Duncan more minutes, and Enrique too. Enrique the other day, 82nd minute. That's ridiculous. What do you expect the guy to do in 10 minutes?
Nothing.
Not going to do anything. In 10 minutes, by the time he gets his legs under him, boom, the game's over.
And we brought those big guns when we were already down to 10 men. So what are those guys supposed to do?
Score a
Yeah.
hat trick. They're supposed to score a hat trick, like my
Yeah,
son would
well,
say.
they can pull a rabbit out of a hat and still wouldn't be as impressive.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just looking at the stats here, there's absolutely zero excuse for anything other than an absolute blowout. Montreal's given up 13 goals on the season. They've
Oof.
only scored 4. They've scored 2 in their last 5 matches. They haven't won a match in 9 games. Bryce Duke has their most shots on target per match at 0.9. There's zero reason that this should even be any sort of match, and I'm being dead serious. If it's anything less than 3-0, then it's a failure.
No, they don't have Joseph anymore, I guess.
Yep.
listen, we go to Montreal, we get 3 points, like we always said, wins make everything feel better. Because this is what happens if we do the opposite. If we go there and get another tie, especially a 0-0, I'll throw
Oh
myself out of
God,
the window.
no, please.
And then
no.
we come home because guess who are we playing when we return home? April 26th at 7:15. At 7:15.
At least
The
it's gonna be
ATL.
dark. At least it's gonna be dark at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Miguel
but
Almiron.
Yes, Atlanta United is coming to town. Okay, and and this game is gonna be on Fox, Big Fox,
Oh
our
God.
locals channel 35.
Oh God.
Every time we had this fixture and we are playing in network television, meaning for the guys outside of the United States, that means the free channels, the rabbit ears, right? It's the local TV station. You don't have this is no, oh, I'm paying for MLS Plus. This is open to anybody. Imagine you are a fan of sports. You never given us a chance because we're behind a paywall and the tickets are too expensive, and you decide to sit down and watch it. Every time this has happened, unfortunately, Atlanta walks out with the 3 points and he embarrasses us. This is the first time that is happening here. Usually, this type of exposure happens when we play them in Atlanta. But perhaps the executives are smelling the drama of Miguel Almiron, Lizard Boy, coming to town and try to revive his career, his failed career. Trying to think it's 2016 all over again, 2017 or 18, whatever. I don't even remember when that was. But the fact is, guys, that
17. Yeah.
these two games, these two games are married to each other. One, like we always say, football's cruel and unpredictable. We gotta win that one because if you do not get a, God forbid, you lose that one and you come home and you laid an egg against a team that we keep saying is a rival, my friends. In rivalries, you have to win. You have to win at least one game to call it a rivalry. At this point, I think that they have won like 9 games in this so-called rivalry. So you gotta beat them. We win against everybody except Miami, except Atlanta, except New York City. Teams that I pray that nuclear bombs drop over those cities. Because I can stand their fan base, I can stand their players. I can stand their team. I hate the Bull Boys, the Water Boys. I hate them all. Even the guy working concessions. I hate them all. We gotta win. You gotta motivate the fan base. You gotta throw meat at the lions. Okay, you
No pun
gotta you gotta
intended.
get people excited.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah,
This
no pun
this
intended.
the match against Montreal, the head to head is I had it up here. Against Montreal is perfectly even. 10 wins for them, 5 draws, 10 wins for us.
Oh,
Then you go look at the Atlanta one, and as David was saying, it's actually worse than David was leading on. Um, we have 5 wins. There's been 7 draws, and they've won 11 times.
Jesus.
I mean, I don't know what they've done so far this season,
Not good.
but on
We have
on
2 wins.
on paper, they have a high-powered offense.
Yeah, they
Um,
lost their last game, by the way.
Yep. They're not
whatever
they're
they've
not
done,
doing well this year. I mean, they spent all that money in the off season. Atlanta
oh,
did.
it's just on
They're
paper.
11th.
But, I kind of, not to make myself a prophet, I said at the beginning of the year with them, and with Miami, you can spend all the money on attack you want. You still have to stop. You still have to stop the other team from scoring.
They're yet to win a
Soccer is
game on the
kind of
road.
the exact opposite of most other sports outside of maybe baseball. Where in soccer, a team with a good defense will most likely will more often than not beat a team with a great offense.
Yeah, but for some reason, when we play Atlanta, Guzan decides to act like he's Thibaut Courtois or something.
Well, I mean,
You
that
know,
was the thing that I wanted to bring up about last match too. Is you look at all of our shots, they weren't great shots. They were either outside the frame or right at the keeper, very close
Correct.
to the keeper. Um, and when you do that, the keepers should make the saves, unless Guzan has this you know malfunction where he just falls backwards and watches the ball go in the net.
Right. The
But
glitch.
yeah, I mean, next to Miami, this is our the game in 2 weeks is our biggest rival. We'll touch more on it next week,
For sure.
but this is one of the games that you absolutely have to win. You absolutely, it could be a 1-0 game and we could score the first goal in the first 2 minutes. I just want to beat them. Like David said, the term I'm sure a lot of Orlando City fans hear blowing around is plastics. This is where the term started. A lot of their fans, and it shows. It's shown the last 2 or 3 seasons that their fans are only there to seek glory. They don't care about the club itself. They're just there to. They're only there during the good times, and in the bad times, they all leave. I mean,
They still
you see
flexing
some,
that 2018 championship. I
yeah,
don't know. Living
but
in the past.
they should have an asterisk next to it because weren't they found to have broken roster rules and
Of
such?
course, absolutely. Listen, our rivals tend to win because the league allows them. And yeah, Serge, I laugh at that. I'll be quick so we can read these comments. You gotta remember, New York won because Philadelphia had 9 players go down with COVID, and then you had Atlanta cheating, and then you had what else? And then you had the Miami boys there getting gifts from FIFA and the league. Guys, so you have an idea who are we facing this Saturday? Montreal. Their home record is one loss. They only have played one home game so far, and then on the road, 5 losses, 2 ties. These guys, this is what's gonna happen, either or, because Orlando City is that club. Either we're gonna lose to these guys, giving them their first win, and it's gonna be something monumental, or we act like a club that wants to win championships and we go and beat them as if they owe us child support. It's that easy. And then we come home and we remind Atlanta that we're built, not bought, and that this fan base has been here since day one, regardless of the results. That's what we need to do. But anyways, let's go to Serge. By the way, love the comment, my friend. I chuckle at that.
He says,
Then
David,
silence.
my license. He says, David, my license plate says, "I hate ATL." You're welcome.
There you go, my friend.
We got one more comment that just popped up. It's
Tora says, "I have 15 people from work coming to watch the ATL game. Some will be their first soccer game. The boys better not disappoint."
Oh, brother, I don't have a hat, but I told my hat. This is what it means, guys. And I have told Jared Dillon himself. John is a witness that it's the fans that are driving the fandom of this club in this town. Not marketing, not the league, certainly not the league. My friend, wonderful. I commend you. This is what it's all about. 15 people that are about to experience football for the first time. How about Oscar Pareja gets the boys together and say, we gotta go out there and leave in ambulances because we have to give it all. That would be beautiful. That they are treated to a great game. We'll see. I don't know, but my friend, I commend you. That's just beautiful what you're doing because at the end of the day, is the unsung heroes of this fan base in the terraces that are like yourself that are growing the sport in our city.
and I
So
know we've hyped this match in 2 weeks up enough, but this is the match that you know I look at the calendar when the schedule comes out every year. There's 2 teams that I look to see who we play and when we play them at home, and that's Miami and that's Atlanta.
hmm
Hmm.
Of course, I want to know when the opening match is. I want to know when the season ends, all that stuff. But there's 2 teams specifically I look to see when we play them at home, and it's Atlanta and it's Miami. And this match coming up in 2 weeks needs to be a game that every fan shows up, every supporter's there in the supporter sections, whatever beefs or quarrels or rumors or whatever are going around inside the supporter groups need to be squashed. The supporter
absolutely.
groups have to be cohesive in this match. The fans have to be cohesive in this match. Even if this was on YouTube and you had to go through and search and dig for it through 100 pages after the search, this is just like the Miami match. This is a true soccer culture versus what the modern soccer culture wants. Atlanta wants everything to be bought and not earned. They don't even deserve to have a club because every team after us was made to have, starting with us and after, was made to have a soccer specific stadium or plans for a soccer specific stadium. Just like New York, they were not. They got in because they have a multi-billionaire owner. They have the mockery of a home field that is Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm sorry, soccer is not a sport that's meant to be played, let alone on a grass pitch, an artificial field. Played indoors is a mockery in itself. It is the biggest mockery you can have. And it's one of those games that our fans, our supporters, our season ticket members, sponsors, everybody needs to be there for this match. There's Atlanta's going to bring their couple hundred maybe fans with them that'll sit in the supporter section, but there's absolutely no reason that there's not 20,500 people in that stadium wearing purple, all cheering and chanting and yelling at the ref, yelling at the other players, all in cohesion to really make the stadium the home field advantage that we know.
Absolutely.
There was almost 22 the other day, John.
Look at that stadium and tell me there was almost 22,000 people. That blew my mind when that came out. I thought it was going to be 18 at best, to be honest with you. I've been to enough games where I can,
Well, you can gauge. Yeah, you can gauge, my friend. It's again, we are the exception. We go to 99% of the games. We go to OCB games for crying out loud, pride games, all this other stuff. We are the exception. Guys, we're almost done. I just final words for me. Number one, like I said, we have to make a statement up in Canada this Saturday because I think the fan base is hungry for it, thirsty for it, and then coming home to what has to be a bloodbath, a war, and to me, that's what fans want to see. They want a hard fought match where we walk away with the 3 points and the trash talking begins. So thank you very much for everybody that watched us tonight. I appreciate it. Let's continue to support OCB, Pride, Orlando, and we want to wish all the best to our academy as they continue to fight on in the Generation Adidas tournament. Again, my message personally to our academy players is to keep pushing. I know it's not easy. And my respects at 16, 17, I was doing nothing. I was doing nothing with my life. Until I joined the Navy, I never did anything of importance. So my respects to you guys. I know it's not easy, and for me, this humble fan, I have nothing but admiration to what you guys do. So, guys,
Yeah, on that note, I mean, just to the academy players, we're behind you. I'll be any matches that may be on because I believe they're all on YouTube or CBS Sports or combination.
yes, sir.
Of both.
Combination.
I wasn't able to watch any this past weekend because I was very busy with the family. But any coming up, just like the OCB matches, I'll be looking for it, be trying to watch it. And we forgot to mention Orlando City B does have a match tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Where are they playing?
We did forget to mention that earlier in the show. I'm looking up who we're playing real quick. We're playing. Oh, that's how can I forget? We're playing Inter Miami 2. So the
Oh, okay.
so a little bit of a rivalry match. We're playing them in Bradenton at the IMG complex. The match starts at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in. It'll search MLS Next Pro on YouTube. If it's not on there, it'll be on the MLS Season Pass. You got to scroll all the way down on MLS Season Pass. It's always on one or the other. So there's no reason to not be able to tune it if you have the chance and you're just watching, Wheel of Fortune. There's no reason that you can't. I don't even know if Wheel of Fortune's still on. But, you
I
know,
was just about to ask
Asking the
you.
wrong person.
because I know the two hosts retired, but you're watching Jeopardy or something, after dinner, throw that game on, show the boys your support. And then yeah, the academy where the whole city's behind you, where you give the people are that root cheer for Orlando City a lot of pride in what you're doing. Keep it up, keep playing hard. And in a tournament like this, the coach in me's going to come out a little bit. It's not always about winning; it's about what you learn. The wins are secondary. If you guys, give your all and try your hardest, you'll make everybody here back at home, proud and can't wait to see, you know, all of you, if not a handful, all of you guys up on the senior team at some point.
All right. With that said, any closing words, gentlemen?
Nope, just everybody win. Pride, the men's, OCB. You guys said the academy, and bring home the 3 points. Everybody.
This Saturday, like they said, and remember the Titans, leave no doubt.
Yeah, that was an awesome movie, man.
Hmm.
All right, so we're gonna leave you the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper or turf. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you ever really footballed? For John, David, Misael, and myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando!